Welcome back. I'm Adrienne, your expert on all things custom home building and luxury. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend how much fun we have on the Fraser Homes channel. So today we are talking about why process matters. Now you know that I love a process. Remember in times past we talked about process capability. We've talked about schedules. We've talked about what your project manager is and is not doing. And this is just to top off all of those beautiful topics with even more content concerning why the process matters. So, construction is not a single event. So, if you remember in times past, I talked about the fact that construction is not static, okay? So, it is not a single event. So, it means that it requires a system. And Fraser Homes is providing that system. As your general contractor, we are managing means, method, labor, materials, invoicing, purchasing, pricing. We are doing all of that, and so that you can end up with your project or your product, which is a beautiful, fully custom Fraser home. But there is a process that needs to be followed in order to make that come alive. Okay, so there is a myth that we will figure it out as we go. If you have a builder that is figuring out how to build your home as you go, you can guarantee that you are going to have a lot of cost overruns and you are going to have a lot of system failures. That's what we like to call it here at Fraser Homes, system failures. And that is because the process is not designed. You don't know the capacity. We can go back to the process capability. That is one of my favorite episodes, is talking about process capability. We'll link it down below. So is the process capable of achieving the outcome? We can't do that if we're discovering things on the fly. Okay, so, what does it actually mean for construction when we're talking about our system? It means we have defined sequences. So, you will understand, we know that we are going to go through the design phase and then we are going to go through the construction phase that starts with moving dirt, and we understand about the foundation and the framing, all of those things. Now, those are natural sequences, but we have to pair those with our subs and our vendors and also with our supply men. So, understanding the sequence is important. Understanding when we are starting work is important. Are we going to start work in a very rainy season? That is going to impact the overall system. Okay, clear decision timelines. This is the reason why you hear me say we have to know when selection choices are going to be made. Why? Because it impacts the overall system. How many times have we talked about, if I don't know what your windows are, if I don't know what your front door is, that means that I can't do the rough framing. I can't do certain elements because I don't have that information. So making decisions at the appropriate timeline, make sure that we do not have system failures. Okay, and now we want to talk about protecting the quality. The quality of your product is also a direct correlation to making sure that the process is not eroded or negatively impacted. When you start to have a lot of variation in your process, then your process is out of control. So you all know that I am a master black belt in Six Sigma, so I love statistics. We're going to put in what a control chart looks like. When your trend line looks like it is very consistent and it's staying within the specification limits, that is good. That's what we want to see. When your control chart is out of control, where you see a lot of variation and you're going outside of the specification limits, that is bad news. And that's where you start to get quality issues. That's where you start to get defects. This is what happens when you are not maintaining the efficacy of your system or your process. Okay? What is another reason why? It protects the budget. What is the triple constraint? Time, scope, budget. And you can only manage that if you have a bona fide process that works. Okay, so we are also talking about the process reduces stress. Okay, so first we're talking about actual tangible. We're talking about time, scope, budget, triple constraint. That is process, and we can see that our time may be ballooning out of control, our budget is ballooning out of control when we start to have system failures. But on the soft side, people feel stressed. People feel like things are out of control. Just imagine when you feel like things are out of control, it doesn't feel good. And so if your builder is not maintaining a process and understand the sequence of the process, timing, when occurrences need to happen, when inputs need to and decisions need to be made. If that's not happening, that means that your system is going to fail. All right. Now, we talked about variation and we talked about our control charts. Variation for me is the devil. Now, there is going to be inherent variation when you're talking about a custom build, but if it is not controlled, then that means that we have some serious problem. Okay, so what happens when the process is missing? Of course, we're going to have delays. We talked about that. We're going to have frustrated clients. We're going to have quality issues. We're going to even have finger pointing and not so much problem solving. Those things start to bubble up when your process is out of control. And so there you have it. Fraser Homes, we believe in adhering to a process that we know that works. Sometimes it can feel constrained, but that is because we understand that not having a very structured, very streamlined process balloons into other issues that we do not want you to experience as a Fraser Homes client. And if your builder cannot articulate and share with you what their process is when it comes to building your custom home, it means they don't know the difference.